24-year-old Nathaniel Lee Edmonds is behind bars for fatally choking his 1-year-old son. At around 2:40 p.m. on Wednesday the 18th of September, police arrived at a residence in the 300 block of North Royal Avenue in Front Royal, Virginia, and found emergency medical personnel preparing to take a toddler to Warren Memorial Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Authorities said that the victim's mother left for work that day, leaving Nathaniel to look after their child. When she returned, she discovered her son unresponsive on his bed, and Nathaniel had fled the scene. A phone tracker located Nathaniel in North Front Royal, where the police located him walking along US Highway 522 North, near Fairground Road, and detained him. After being read his Miranda rights, Nathaniel confessed to choking his son with both his hands for several minutes because the child wasn't listening and he couldn't take it anymore. He also claimed he saw the boy foaming at the mouth. Nathaniel remains held without bail at the Warren County Jail on a second-degree murder charge. Court records also show that Nathaniel was charged with misdemeanor domestic assault and battery in July of 2023. 23-year-old Joshua Lanchester is behind bars for beating his grandmother to death with a hammer. At around 11:40 a.m. on Saturday the 28th of September, authorities responded to a 911 call asking for medical assistance at a residence at 44 North Peak Drive in eastern New Hampshire. When troopers arrived at the scene, they found 76-year-old Cynthia Lanchester deceased with significant trauma to her skull. Authorities said that she had been bludgeoned to death with a hammer, and the cause of death was determined to be blunt force trauma. Investigators found Joshua, the victim's grandson, at the scene, and he was immediately taken into custody on suspicion of killing his grandmother. Joshua is charged with second-degree murder and remains held at the Grafton County Jail without bail. Authorities said that Cynthia was a grandmother to 6 grandchildren and had been married for more than 50 years before losing her husband in August this year. 21-year-old Chevy Kyler Monahan is behind bars for killing his grandparents. At 12:08 p.m. on Saturday the 21st of September, police responded to a residence in the 2300 block of Brook Hill Drive in Austin, Texas to complete a welfare check. Authorities said that multiple concerned callers requested that police check on 75-year-old Shari Mallory Maxa and 76-year-old Anthony Maxa, and that Chevy was refusing to open the door to let them see the couple. When officers arrived, they made contact with Chevy in the driveway of the home, and he told police that his grandparents were inside unharmed and that his grandfather had kicked him out. Officers obtained a key to access the residence and found Chevy's grandparents deceased in the hallway with multiple gunshot wounds to the head and body. Authorities said that the grandparents' bedroom had been ransacked and the dresser drawers thrown to the floor, and empty jewellery boxes were on the floor and bed. In Chevy's bedroom, they found a handgun and several rounds of ammunition. Authorities said that at the time of their arrival, Chevy was packing bags into the back of his grandmother's vehicle, and that Chevy seemed nonchalant while communicating with police. He then calmly sat down, lit a marijuana cigarette and opened a soda can. Officers found ammunition in Chevy's pockets, as well as his grandmother's pills and prescription medication. Authorities also found boxes of women's jewelry that had been loaded into his grandmother's vehicle. Police alleged Chevy shot and killed the victims in their home. Chevy was arrested and charged with capital murder, and he remains held at the Travis County Jail without bond. 18-year-old Carter Joshua Curtis is behind bars for fatally shooting his father, 41-year-old John McMurphy. At 11:23 p.m. on Saturday the 28th of September, Joshua called 911 to report he shot his adoptive father inside their home along 8th Street in Adrian, Missouri, and then fled the scene. When officers arrived at the property, they were met by the victim's wife in the driveway with a young girl who was screaming, "He has never been violent." When officers entered the premises, they found John deceased laying face down on the floor with a gunshot wound to his head. The victim's wife told investigators that she walked into the hallway and found Carter, who handed her a rifle and said, "I already called 911 and I had to do it." Carter left the house and she said she found her husband dead on the floor next to the dining room table. Within minutes of their arrival, officers located Carter a block away from the home and took him into custody. Carter's charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action and remains held at the Bates County Jail without bond. A motive of the killing is unclear as the investigation into the matter continues.